We
when mom did get
it is fun to see a bunch of. It's fun to actually try to start building this church community I'm trying to build with having, you know what I'm saying, homies from the church, partners from the church, other men from the church. Great word today. It was in Galatians. Galatians, one of my favorite books. Got some historical context today out the word that I think help illustrate, color, bring more detail to some of those scriptures, some of those passages. What I got from it was kind of like the idea of what discipline, mentorship, guidance, and how like that can really impact your relationship with other people as well as God. So great Father's Day word and or message. I'm sorry, this traffic dude messed me up, y'all. Got to run into some guys. They had a men's event yesterday. 2 days ago, I think.
Well, that car came out of nowhere.
I thought it was Friday. But it was fun. It was fun. Lifting weights, throwing axes. The church events have evolved. They're different now. We're doing different things. Basketball games, throwing football. It was a good hangout session. Overall, just some really good word today. I really enjoyed the breakdown, the rundown today, if you will. You had anything, baby, you liked about the message today?
I don't know. I have to think a little bit more.
All right, so the immediate recap, man. Go to one.church on YouTube. Check out the sermon. You don't want to miss this one. He did a really nice or kind of in-depth, like daily kind of routine to help install just some foundations for yourself, your family, in terms of living for God and doing God's values. Like I will be taking at least a few segments of the scheduler to help redefine my schedule. Like for instance, my morning times with my boy, I will I'm gonna just revamp it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, recalibrate it. Not gonna scrap it, not too far off, but yeah. Yeah, then I can actually wifey do some of that stuff that's on the list. I was thinking about the whole time. Wifey do all that, preparing for the next day. But it's biblical, and it's time for me to get 360 on board with. Like it's just God's way to prepare for the next day, the night before. So, Miles on. We're not gonna do Burger King today. So just the constant, swinging that hammer to really iron out this flesh and make sure it does what God would prefer us to do. And then also the overall message was saying that even though these are the fundamentals, this is not the actual freedom in Christ. It's not the actual, you don't want to get put up too much on the law. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get hung up on the law, but the law is foundational. I like that. I'm gonna have to definitely go back, listen to it again. I will have wifey on later. She said she had to let it marinate a little bit more today before we get on. So I will look to do it. So you said you remember stuff now? Oh no, man, it's okay. It's okay. I appreciate y'all. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know where y'all tuning in from. Put your area code. What did you have, baby?
Well, some of it reminded me of like that verse, "Train up a child in the way he should go."
Train up a child, yeah.
He will not depart from it, because that's kind of what he's talking about. It doesn't necessarily have to relate to just kids, but like training yourself up if you didn't have that. But like, think about it spiritually at this point in your life.
Yeah.
So it is like it's not just something that happens. Like you do have to train, you do have to have that discipline and that continual thing. So I took it as like a child because I always think about miles in it. But so I like that, and like that idea of like, okay, just because you, like the example he gave was like that, what is it, the pedagogue who
the
trains
pedagogue.
up the child and all that stuff, but then you get to a certain age. So like even think about moving out of your parents' house. Like we all move out and like, oh yeah, there are certain things that our parents made us do that we didn't like, so we try to change it. But some of it were like, that was just good parenting, we just didn't understand it then. And I like that connection, like with the law, because a lot of times we're like, oh, the Bible said like Jesus didn't come to abolish the law, he came to fulfill it. But like that fulfillment of the law, understanding the law, like it's something separate. I feel like his really brought that to
I like
life.
That too.
Because I think a lot of times we're like, oh, he didn't. So that's
or that's different.
A lot of like non-Christian people or people trying to prove their point will be like, oh well, in the Old Testament it said this and this and that, and you don't do this. But it said that Jesus didn't come to abolish the law, but it wasn't like abolishing. Like he was the end, he was the purpose, he was the fulfillment of it. The end goal for God is for us to be in relationship with Him, not just follow a set, bunch of rules. So I feel like today's message really opened that up for me. Sorry if that wasn't clear, but.
Oh no, I think it was clear. I think because a lot of people want to only take the Jesus and not the Old Testament, but Jesus was just the execution, in my opinion, of the Old Testament. Like he was the only one who could pretty much do it right or understand it, because he is the Word of God. And there is differences with.
And before Jesus, like there was no way to cleanse yourself of sin.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't be with God with sin, so Jesus had to come, or you would still have to do those rituals or just live that way. But Jesus came so we wouldn't have to do those things anymore. We could just focus on our relationship with God, which is all He wanted. So, I don't know. I like the message today.
I liked it too. I definitely got to hear it again because it's almost like not bridging the gap, but it is like almost taking the next step from like childhood to adulthood, in a sense where the law was limited, in a sense, because you are literally limited by this first guardianship, your parents. And then I guess like as an adult, I look at it more like maybe your parents didn't do everything right, but now as an adult, you experiencing Christ and living in Christ, maybe you'll get more clarity, or maybe you'll have a better chance at doing it right or better, because you got something to bounce off of, because the goal is freedom. And I think the highlight of the Old Testament is you couldn't really, there was no salvation by the law, and that's the greatest difference between, I call it the upgrade, from Old Testament to New Testament. God better explained or better carved out a way for us to live the way He wants.
And it has to be your choice, like to the point where, like you said, you have to choose. Are you going to continue with these habits in your foundation, or are you just gonna, go buck wild?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's always your choice. You could choose to completely stray.
Yeah.
I know that's different for all people, because not everybody had good parents. Or people who, love them, think about kids who...
I thought about that a lot, coming from a broken home, like even that P word that I'm messing up right now. Like I feel like I had so many extra mentors or tutors or guardians in different aspects that I would have preferred one. I would have preferred, my dad he gave me a lot of life knowledge, but like I would have preferred it drilled, on a daily, on a routine. I don't know, but I definitely got some stuff to install with the family for myself, ways to communicate with my son as well as my wife. So this will be fun because like a lot of the stuff that I'ma just try it. I don't think I'm gonna do well to start, but for instance, this laundry at home that my wife has been looking at me. She ain't beat me about it yet. The bridge all has progress. You see the lines. You see the lines. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, wifey is great. Very patient. Very patient. She got that New Testament patience. Yeah, she got that fruit of the Spirit. She got the, yeah. I know I am loved by the Lord. Yes, I am loved by the Lord. But yeah, gotta re-watch it. I'm gonna try to get with some fellas later. Since it was Father's Day, try to get a 20-minute discussion on this. See if we can soak up some of the, experiences that they had as well on this same similar topic space. Because this is America. We all are doing the American experience, and I think the enemy is attacking all our families in a certain way. But I think this could actually be the key to help really putting that armor of God on. Like, because we got to train up our kids. And I think by training up your child, I deal with this with my son. By training up my child, it directly attacks any hypocrisies that I have. Like, I got like a free range child. I treat him like an adult.
Not really.
I treat him like an adult in the sense that he has rights, his opinions, his feelings are valued.
But you know what?
That's not how I came up.
He said you need to know, when you talk about like family values and things like that, you need to know the what and the why. And I think we spend a lot of, well, at least in our generation growing up, it was a lot of like the what to do.
Yeah,
but if you wanted to know why, it was like disrespect, or like you don't need to know why because I said
child,
whatever.
And they would hit us.
The why is very important. Like, because even my parents, like my dad, he talks, he would lecture us for hours on the why, and at some point, whatever. But it didn't matter. Like, you still had to do what he told you to do.
Correct.
But I really appreciated understanding the why, even as a teacher. Like, I've had 9 and 10-year-olds come to me and tell me, like, we really like that you talk to us and talk through stuff with us and don't just tell us to do stuff. So even as a kid, you understand the difference when someone takes the time to explain something to you. You don't have to like it, but
you don't have to like it at all.
And I think that's with God too. He always explained the why. Like, when people would get upset, like, that's what Jesus's parables and things were always, that why. And then you still got to take it and do with it what you want to do. But I think the people who try to understand the why.
Well, on the side note, I would get in trouble, and then like, cause all right, so I had a broken home structure. Mostly my dad wasn't in the home, so we would have rules and stuff. My mom was very principled, very disciplined household. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even gonna air her out. But I'm just saying, very strict discipline. She was raising 2 boys.
Crazy boys.
Not crazy boys. Wifey, don't say that. Wifey gonna try to say crazy boys. We ain't getting no troubles or nothing, good grades and all that.
I'm joking.
Okay. Well, my mom, I think, would agree with you because the way she was raising us was like we was crazy boys.
She wanted to make sure you didn't get to be crazy, though. That's what she was
Yeah,
doing.
she was definitely the, what you call it, prevention. She was big on prevention. But growing up with her, it was hard. She was busy, but she would put she the one who handed me to rely on God, pray. Like, I don't like the way she didn't really give me the why, other than I don't, or I can't, or I'm insufficient, which I really respect and admire her for doing that, because that's who I bank on is like God. Like, I know I can take it to God, it's gonna get resolved. But when you don't know the why, and this is the issues that we was having growing up, because I was the man in the house at way too young, and then so it was 2 sets of rules in the house, and it was mostly because I didn't understand how the adult could do these things and the child couldn't, when I was doing all these chores, I was doing all these adults. So it was very confusing coming up in a structure like that, not knowing the why. Hindsight, I am very appreciative. I think my wife is appreciative of some of the skills and talents I've learned due to that system, and now I know the why was so that you could take care of yourself. But I've revamped that. I read what the pastor say, recalibrated that to take care of my family. I'm not just out here.
Well, I think you have to calibrate it too for the situation you're in. Like, the environment that you grew up in isn't the same environment that Miles grew up
Correct.
in. So the way we explain things to him can be different than how your mom explained things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or even like my family was very different than your family. So I think, you know, we're still held accountable, but it might look different.
Yeah, one of the biggest things Christ came to deal with was hypocrisy. That's one thing I think people slip out. Like, he's there for the salvation, forgiving sins, healing people, but he came to end the do as I say, not as I do type thing. That's why Jesus was walking there like he talk it, because it should be just plain as day. Like, I don't think I look at it like God and Christ. Like, hierarchy wise, I might be the one or the two, but you are equally capable, equally authoritative. You just got to do it in the name of the other person. You know what I'm saying? The big guy. You can't be out here doing things on your own. But I do like the Old Testament, New Testament references. He went through that whole thing about basically a super nanny is what I took from it. Like, you got somebody who gonna come in, who gonna do a job that you might not have the patience to get up and do every day. But then also in relation to that representing the law until you old enough, till you grown enough, till your father says, the way he put it in the sermon today, till your father makes the decision that, all right, we're gonna charge you as an adult. We're gonna hold you to an adult standard. And being somebody who was held at an adult standard very, very early, I'm talking like about, don't think I'm, listen, about 10 years old, by all accounts, pretty much everybody in my family treated me like an adult. Like, and I'm talking about, I drive and everything, driving home from elementary school, like, get the keys, like. So with that being said, I've always had a higher level of like kind of stress that I put on myself, because I've been groomed, like, they've been telling me I've been an adult for so long that it's been funner as an actual adult loving Christ, because I don't have to adhere to all these extra rules. Now I can just try my best at attempting to please God, and not these parent rules and God rules. So made it home. I'm gonna put together a better production hopefully here soon. I want to get resituated, get the family some food and everything, but this is just a quick, right off the bat, after church. So we got the neighbors, everybody getting home from church, man. Like, share, and subscribe. Put your area code down below. Comment below. I'm going to hopefully put the original sermon in the description box. Yo, great knowledge, teaching, learning, love today. I'm going to share it with everybody I know who claim to believe and claim to love God and claim that we trying to bring God's kingdom on earth. We got some assistance today.